Turks Heads. Before we get too deep in them, I want to share some more information. Some terrific sources of information are in printed literature. Here I have 3 of my favorite authors, and they go way deep into general information. This is Jeffrey Budworth, Jeffrey with a G. An excellent resource for knot tying, Turks Heads and all. He's got about half a dozen Turks Heads in here. A great, great book. Jeffrey Budworth. Now this is my all-time favorite book. This is by Des Pawson, D-E-S-P-A-W-S-O-N. And this is the expanded edition. I love this book because it's small and it travels well. And it's got 4 or 5 different Turks Heads. 2 of my favorite Turks Heads. And of course, this is Ashley's Book of Knots. In the knot tying circles, we call it ABOK, Ashley's Book of Knots. Clifford Ashley. And there are so many Turks Heads in here and so many techniques, it's hard to say this is how many. This is an excellent, excellent volume. Try to check it out at a library before you invest in this. This is a lot of, this can be a bit expensive, but there's a lot of information in here on Turks Heads and knot tying in general. Several thousand knots in this volume right here. Now this is what we're talking about. These are some of the Turks Heads that I like to tie. And here is our 3x5. We just discussed this in a previous video. And one of our next steps will be expanding it to a 3x8 right here. A couple of the Turks Heads that I like a lot are the 4x3 and the 4x5. I like these a lot. Now, these are particularly good if you are going around a king spoke on your ship's wheel. You will turn your wheel to the 6 o'clock position and then tie your knot. Since it's 4 leads, you put 2 leads on either side of the spoke and you sort of tie the knot upside down. So these 2 work particularly well going around a king spoke. Now, if helm amidships is it between 2 spokes, and it is on my boat, then I like to tie the 5x4. This is a 5-lead 4-bight. It does very well in an open field, not around a spoke. So around the spokes, you want to put 2 leads on either side of the spoke, not around the spoke, 5 leads. Now, another thing that we want to talk about is if you're going around stainless steel, then you want to put a foundation down, some sort of tape to keep your Turks Head from sliding. Because if you don't put tape there, the Turks Head will slide side to side and slide around eventually. You can also use CA glue, and this is cyana acrylic glue, super glue, and it will lock your Turks Head down. So that's a little bit more discussion on Turks Heads. And if you have any questions, shoot me a message, particularly on Facebook. And I am Mr. Knots, not on my boat.